Hello. Okay. Yeah, everybody okay? One day's break is good, huh? Couple things for people who came and asked me the other day, like what happens to the students who have come in late. I think they're going to give you some kind of a slot for makeup class. So I've not received the email, and I don't think it'll be 6 lectures. Something like 2 lectures, and I might take one and try to summarize for the students who came in late. Clear? Some of you came in late to the campus, joined late. Second thing, just was chatting with a tutor. He said that he gave you guys some a small surprise quiz. By the way, it's not graded. Got it? He's just trying to have some fun and see whether you're able to follow the lectures in the tutorial. So what happened? How did that go? No, it happened only in one tutorial. Who attended that tutorial? Put your hands up. How did it go? Okay, you're not happy with the question itself. Yeah? It's too easy or we're not able to get the solution. Sort it out, okay? What topic was that? Equilibrium. What's the problem? So learn to write the force balance correctly, yeah? The force balance and the pressure balance. I think where you're going to make mistakes is arrows, the direction. So for that you have to actually select where is the boundary. Where is the boundary? If you cannot select where the boundary is in a given schematic, then obviously you will write two things wrong. One is the arrows you will write wrong, and what is on the left side of the boundary you will write it wrong. What is on the right side of the boundary you will write it wrong. Identify the boundary correctly. Clarify with the tutor, yeah? The whole first chapter, second chapter is based on knowing where the boundary is. If you don't know where the boundary is, don't bother. So if you put a thermometer on your forehead to measure the temperature with a digital thermometer, where is the boundary? Hello, this side, where's the boundary? I take a digital thermometer, put it on my temple to measure the temperature. Where is the boundary? This side. Whoever is new to the class, I hope you understand. If you don't speak, I have nothing to tell you. Where is the boundary? Where is the boundary? You got to speak. Where's the boundary? No, hold on. Don't want this side. This side is a little bit noisy. I like it. This side. Where's the boundary? I cannot go forward until you tell me where's the boundary. I took a digital thermometer probe and stuck it on my temple to measure the temperature. Where is the boundary? Scale. Where is the boundary? Yeah. Yeah, and my skin. That is the boundary. What are you guys doing? Had breakfast? Yeah? Cannot spoon feed too much. Yes? Until you speak, I cannot tell you anything. Am I clear? This side understands. This side. If you do not speak and keep looking at my face, there is nothing much I can tell you. You have to tell me for me to tell you something. When you're walking on the ground, where is the boundary? Okay. If you don't know the boundary, there is no thermodynamics, there is no equilibrium. Got it? Be bold. Make mistakes in the class. Speak out. Lay it out in the class. Rectify everything in the class. Treat this as a class that you are studying for the exam so that you don't have to sit and study separately. There is nothing to sit and study separately if you didn't know already. This is your studying for the exam since you focus so much on the exam. Identify the boundary correctly. So if I'm walking forward, what am I pushing backward? Okay, so there is always going to be balance of forces, balance of momentum, and balance of energy. If you play a little bit of sports and if you do a little bit of dance, you understand that if you twirl to the right, there has to be something that should balance you to twirl to the left so that you don't fall over. Yes? Okay. If you torque to the left, there must be something that should hold you to torque to the right. Otherwise, you will fall. Clear? That's it. That's equilibrium. If you don't maintain that equilibrium, then the process will just go to one side. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about equilibrium again. So everybody's favorite term, W-O-R-K. Say yes. Oh, really? Like you mean it. So why is work so much thought about? I'll give you 10,000 brownie points for all these questions. Why is work so dominant in our conversation, in our life? So firstly, let me ask this question. Does work come naturally to us? Oh, okay. So what comes naturally to us? Sleeping. Very good. Or drifting. Or dreaming. But then why if that comes naturally to us, then why do we have such a dominant work concept in our conversation, in our life? Why? Right, because it does not, you said what comes naturally to us is something that is not exactly organized activity. It is something that is disorganized. In your language, random, disordered, drift, disperse. But then why does work dominate our life, our conversation? Oh, why? When that's not natural, you desire it as a natural thing. Yeah? Oh, you should give her points, right? Our action does not come naturally, but there is a desire for some outcome of it naturally. Go figure the conundrum in this life, yeah? That's why we are struggling. The activity to act upon it does not come naturally to us, but there is a desire of that outcome that comes naturally to us. There is no free lunch in life, if you didn't know. But we try to play around this riddle of, how about I get some free lunch? No, you cannot. You will not. Not going to happen. So do less, get more. Desire more. Try to do less. does not happen. So let's treat work as an acronym and be my guest. And go for it. I'll give you some hints. I already used some words: organized, oriented, in unison, a purpose, a profit, a outcome. You yourself say all these things, right? You like all these kind of words. Just like finance, back again. Thermodynamics, finance, back and forth, back and forth. Profit, outcome, investment, organized, oriented, purpose-filled. Okay, how do you want to break work down? So your acronym description should pretty much define work in a way that it should encompass the entire meaning of work. Go for it. What's W? What would you want to put in W? Oh, to be a little relevant, you also have to have some vocabulary. It should go with W only. Little English language is also required. Vocabulary also has to kick in here. But you're free to use any W, so whatever you want. It's a game, like a game show. Like it? Okay, but it should encompass everything, and then I'll ask you guys, does that encompass everything? If it does not, then wrong. We got to do it again. W. It should have some meaning for work. So work, does it, one more hint. Is there resistance always for work? Okay. Or I will ask in a different way, one second. I'll ask in a different way. If there were no resistance, would you do work? No. Wonderful. Are you sure? So if a mentor puts his weight on you, then you will do work? Yeah? Obviously you will. Yes, if I lean on you, you will do work. I hope you understand. If you didn't know, you can come to the lab. I'll lean on you. Because you want to prove me wrong. Yes. Work is always done when you have something pushing you in one direction. And you want to oppose it. Yes. If I say you're no good, what do you do? Psychologically, immediately what do you do? You want to prove me wrong. So there's a trick to it, right? So I have to put some weight on you. Okay? So that's all my hints. I've given you all the hints of work. So there must be something opposing you for you to do work. A motivation should be there. Otherwise, you will not do work. Oh, beautiful. Who said it? Put your hands up. You read my mind, man. Willful. Can you write? Willful. It should have a purpose. It should have a deliberate purpose. It should be deliberate. You're not doing it here because you're mindless. You're doing it deliberately. It's willful. Excellent. What a start. I never thought you'd figure it out. You got to give him some points. Good. Willful. Does it cover what does it cover? It covers that you're going with a purpose, that there is an outcome that you're looking for, and that there is a force that is resisting you. Can you write it in your own way? So after you write willful, you write your own description below that. Because that's it. That's the lecture today. It's going to take care of your entire work. Write it. Looking at my face will not help. And you listen to it now and you'll forget it. I know you'll say lecture is there, it's recorded, but still you better record it in your head right now. It's better that way. It's always better that way. Present moment is always better. contemplate on it and write it, like how you would like to write it from your own life and experience. Like that you write it, not because I'm saying something. I didn't say the word willful, it came out of him, so it should come out of you. Otherwise you will not do work without motivation. Shall we move on? One second. Outcome based output. Let's keep that. Yeah, what? Huh? Okay, very good. What else? Organized, oriented. Okay, you can write all these. Organized, oriented, outcome based. What is it that you said? Opposing to a force. So opposing to a force, you got to have some organized activity oriented in a direction. It is both scalar, it's all scalar, vector and tensor. It's also a tensor. You should also know that it acts on a surface, various surfaces. You do work on surfaces. R, very good. You're nicely defining work. R, okay, let's keep requirement. R, he says requirement, okay. It should not be redundant now. Got it? Because you have filled in quite a lot in W and O. Put something that should not be redundant, repetitive. R, revolt, reward. Reward's already there, output, outcome. Is there in the W. That is why you become willful, because you have an opposing force. So she said something, right, that you desire but you don't act upon it. So to convert the desire to action, what should you be? That is your R word. One second, one at a time. Shoot. Yeah. Realize, okay, but that is still realized, but still it should be put into action. That still realizes in the mind. You have to be relentless. Somebody said resilient. Yeah, resilience fine, but you have to be relentless. It should happen to overcome the opposite force. Yes, you have to be relentless. Otherwise, there's no work. You cannot simply say, and stop. You got to follow through to get the outcome. Yes, yes, you have to achieve the outcome. So that is what relentless is. To achieve the outcome, you have to go through the barrier, go through the opposing force. K is a fun word. So what did I say when we spoke about force, momentum and energy? Force is a point force, momentum is how the force is applied, with which velocity it comes in. And what is energy? Force over a continuous distance. Yes. What is work when I hit a tennis ball? It's force over continuous distance. Yes. That's work. So then that's my hint for your K. No, I will not use a fancy word. Yeah. Kick with a continuous change in dimension. Yes. What is energy? What did you say energy as? Force over a continuous distance. Here also thrust over a continuous distance. A kick over a continuous distance. Yes. Clear? Can you write it? Kick over a distance. There has to be something moving over a distance, otherwise work will not happen. There must be a change in dimension. or something has to move over a certain distance. Got it? Otherwise you will not get power. You will not get electric power. I will come back to it when you make the chapter poster for work right now. Did it cover everything now? Work? Anything missing? Should have. We'll include it in W over K. Anything? You need to have a purpose. You need to have an opposing force. You need to have motivation. You need to get organized. You got to have a direction. You got to complete the job. You got to provide some outcome. And it's got to happen with a complete continuous thrust over time and distance. Otherwise, you will not accomplish work. Anything missing? Feel free, we will add it. Should have. 2 minutes, I give you 2 minutes. Orientation. Orientation. Organized, and you have to be oriented. Because it's got a purpose, yes? You need an outcome. So bad work. Bad boy work. I don't like it. It goes so much against us. Too much this outcome based. Anything that is not outcome based is not work. For example, can you give me an example of where there is no outcome based? Sleeping, Pushing a wall is also outcome based only. You're pushing a wall because you want to strengthen your muscles. Yeah. Louder. I can't hear you. Repercussions what? Repercussions is consequence of something that you do. So is there something called as a free expansion? A free expansion, like free lunch. That's why I said there's no free lunch. Is there anything like free expansion? Is there? If you imagine that vacuum is like free expansion, it is sort of a partial understanding of vacuum then. I hope you know there is no free lunch in vacuum pump also. The consequence of it is it's expanding freely, but what did you do before that? You spent all your money and energy to create the vacuum condition, correct? So there is no free lunch. But I agree that the fact that it is going into lower pressure and it's expanding freely without any resistance on the other side is not work. Free expansion is not work. But you should not say vacuum pump does not involve work. That will become hilarious. Yeah? To achieve that free expansion, you did a lot of things before that. You created a chamber, you created a mechanical thrust, or you increased the momentum transfer. You did all that to push the gas out, correct? Sort of make you feel that as though there is free expansion. There is no free expansion there. But yes, if you just take the process of free expansion, yeah, that is not work. The gas does not do any work. You did work. So now we eat food. Who is the battery in our body? Oh, very nice. Should have, loudly. Huh? Somebody said might or something. Okay. Hey, little biology too. Breaks down your nutrients, it provides you energy, and then you go about doing work outside, like walking or whatever you do. Where is the boundary here? Where is the boundary here? You move some furniture. You eat food. Your battery breaks it down, gives you energy, and you do work. You move furniture. Where is the boundary? Where is the boundary? Where is the boundary? Is there a boundary between you and something else? Yes? Where is the boundary? Is mitochondria and you divided? Is there a boundary between you and mitochondria? No. There's a boundary between you and the furniture. You and the furniture. But instead of nutrients in your body, if I gave you an external stimulus, external energy, and then you did the same kind of work, where is the boundary? Now where is the boundary? Exactly. That's the cutoff point, where you are getting the external stimulus from outside your body. That's the boundary. So you have to learn to identify boundaries. Yes. I just gave you a body example, that's all. You can go put fan example, electric motor example. For a fan, where is the boundary? There is a motor inside, yes? Yeah? Motor is driven by electric power. Okay, or we'll say battery. And what work does it do? It circulates air. Where is the boundary? Is it between the motor and the battery inside the fan, or is it between the fan and the air outside? Where is the boundary? Because do you actually see the battery inside? No, you don't. Do you see the motor? They're all part of the fan system, yes? What is the boundary that you see between the fan and the surrounding air? Boundary is important. Now, you made a poster earlier, right? One big thermodynamics poster. What did you call it as? You called it something at the center. Put something at the center. System. You put system. System and surroundings. Very good. There you wrote moving boundary and stationary boundary. Correct? Moving boundary is constant volume or constant mass. The boundary itself is moving. In the fan, is the boundary moving? Really? Is the boundary moving in the fan? With the fan example, is the boundary moving? No, boundary is the same. It's between the fan and the air, surrounding air. Boundary does not move. So is that a constant volume or is that a constant mass? It's a constant volume. The boundary is not moving. If the boundary moves, then the volume will change. The mass will remain the same. If you keep the boundary stiff and rigid, then you can change the flow rate inside that volume and it's a constant volume process. The mass will change. Can you write it down again? If you're still confused, this is important. This is maybe one of the important things. Can you write it? Constant V. The volume remains constant. So your body example, is it constant volume or is it constant mass? 10,000 points, quickly, like a rapid fire. It's constant volume. You can take how much ever food you want. You can change the mass. Yes? Yeah, come on, wake up. Yes? Constant volume. So constant volume, what will you change? Mass. What kind of a boundary will it be? Rigid boundary. Okay, write it. Go to the next one, constant mass. The boundary is flexible. The boundary will move. It's a moving boundary. The volume will change. It's a moving boundary. Okay, make the poster, guys. Work. What is the first box? Definition. I think you did it. Next. What should go in there? Types of work. Okay, whatever you say. I'll go with whatever you say. Types of work. Should have examples. Write it. Write the post-it. Types of work. Make it landscape. Landscape the book. Landscape the book. She just said, yeah, I got it. And then she's writing in portrait. Landscape means width is more than the height. Not garden landscape. Types of work. Should have. Yes? Louder, louder. You got to be louder and clearer. Yeah? Conservative and non-conservative work. Positive work and negative work. I have no idea. Little bit elaborate. Positive, negative work. What is positive and negative work? What she meant was not exactly direction, not exactly work on the system or work on the surroundings. That's not what actually she meant when she said types of work. She meant in terms of outcomes that you get. That's what she meant, like a physical work, like a mechanical work. Yeah, physical work, mechanical work. What will you have in mechanical work? You can have tension, you can have compression, you can have shear, you can have torque, you can have bending, all these things. That is next, friction work. Yeah, mechanical work, expansion, in your language, expansion, compression, it can also shear, it can torque, it can bend, it can flex. Very good. Next. Next. Mechanical work over. Next. Electrical work. Electrical work. So when I said resistance, let's say thermal work. Let's go with thermal work. What is the driving force there? What is the driving force for heat work? Temperature gradient. So we said the work should always go against a resistance. Again, 10,000 point Q&A session. Where is the resistance in the temperature gradient for you to do thermal work? How do we visualize the resistance there? You said temperature gradient between a hot body and a cold body. Got it? What is the resistance that is there that you oppose and do the work for you to consider that you have done heat work or thermal work? Where? In which body? No. You have the hot body, you have the cold body. So for something to go from left to right, I'm just saying hot body, cold body. From my side, left to right, what is the resistance? Otherwise it's not work. Medium, okay. Let's assume the medium is there. Let's say it's in contact. Okay. So don't want medium either. Let's say it's conduction, it's in contact. What's the work? The work is, you will say, heat got transferred from hot body to cold body. What's the resistance there? So the cold body is the resistance. Yes. So cold body is the resistance. So you're opposing that resistance and increasing its internal energy. So otherwise you will not have work. So the gradient is actually your motivation to do any kind of work. Got it? You have to identify the gradient always in a process. Otherwise there is no process. The gradient is your motivation. That motivation is what provides the resistance. Yes? So what do you say usually? If I have a bigger delta T, I will transfer much better. Yes or no? That also told you that the resistance of the cold body is higher. And so your motivation level is also high. Okay, I came to this because somebody said electrical work. Okay, what is the motivation in the electrical work? Okay. What is the consequence of it? So in the heat work, you said temperature gradient as the motivation. What is the consequence of it? The heat flow. The heat will flow, correct? That's the response. Come back to electrical example. What will move? Charge will move. Charge will move to equilibrium. So now where is the resistance here? So you can go with a simple example of one guy likes to donate electrons, one guy likes to accept electrons. I set you up here. What's the resistance? Say that again.
The electrostatic force between the nucleus and electrons to stop it from moving.
No. I've gone to a little macroscopic example. It's electrical work. You have two potentials. One is at a high potential. So there's a reason why you're saying one is a high potential and a low potential. That itself will tell you what is the resistance. What does that mean? I actually answered the question. I said one likes to give and one likes to give less. That is the resistance, and you force him to give, yes? And then you try to equilibrate. Anode and cathode. Your reduction potential. All of you, electrochemistry, a little bit. Reduction potentials are different between anode and cathode, yes? Okay, that difference is your resistance. That's your motivation why the charge will try to force and try to equilibrate. And what do you get out of that? You get the charge movement. So what did you get? Power. You got power. You got electrical work. Very good. You got power. What else? What other work is there? Mechanical work, physical work, thermal work, electrical work. One more? Two more? Oh, okay. Chemical work. I have no idea what's the motivation for chemical work. 100,000 points. No. Think a little bit. A plus B gives C. That's what you're talking about, right? Is that what you're talking about? A plus B gives C. What's the motivation there? No. Stability and all is big words which a guy like me will not understand. I went with simple gradients, right? What is the gradient in chemical work? No. Did you say that for thermal thing? No, you specifically said hot, cold. And for electrical, you specifically said high, low. So then for chemical, what is it? So is it just internal energy? What is the motivation? The full complete picture in chemical work, what is the gradient? Because it's not just the energy difference, you also say number of molecules, like let's say osmosis, right? What is the motivation in osmosis? So you have to take both into consideration. Which is a property that takes both energetics as well as concentration into consideration? Which thermodynamic property? 1,000,000 points. Which takes both energetics as well as the number of molecules. Which thermodynamic property does this? All of you have come across that. I know for a fact. No, it should be a gradient. Entropy will not lead to really work. If you talk about the intrinsic entropy, that is not really going to be Gibbs' work. No, but what is it that takes both Gibbs free energy as well as the number of molecules into consideration? Now you will answer. Both Gibbs free energy gradient as well as the number of molecules gradient. Which is that property? Which has the word chemical in it? The property itself has the word chemical in it. That's why I brought it up, because you said chemical work. For chemical work, I should have. For electrical work, you said electrical potential. For chemical potential. Chemical potential. What is chemical potential? The ability for the potential to, actually it's not a good word, that chemical should not be there. It should be called as a physical potential. It's not only to do chemical reactions. It can be even for osmosis. It can be for absorption. It can be for adsorption. It can be all of that. Yes, chemical potential is not only for a chemical reaction. Somewhere a misnomer came in. They put that word chemical potential. It's for everything. Any other work that you know of? Thank you. Chemical potential, electrical potential, heat potential. Anything else? Yeah, that is not exactly work. Emissivity is not exactly work. That mostly comes like a scatter. You have an overlap of energy levels. That's not organized work. Scatter is not organized work. There's no orientation to scatter. Any more work? How about tearing a paper? What work is that? No, what did you create by tearing a paper? Oh, very good. Louder. More number of papers. You created more number of surfaces. Surface work. Surface work. What does surface work lead to if you make nanomaterials? You do a lot of surface work and you create more surfaces. It leads to more adsorption work as well as absorption work. Both. I think that's it. That pretty much covers a lot of work. Mechanical, thermal, physical, electrical, chemical, surface, adsorption, absorption. Okay, next. What box? Types of work. Go for it. You have to control the poster. I'm not the guy who's going to do the poster. Units. You want to go light? Okay, units. Units. Force over a continuous distance. What is the unit? Newton meter. Joules. Joules. Okay, next. What do you want in the poster? Next. Huh? What else? What else you want in the work poster? Definition, types, units. Louder. Driving force, done. With your types of work itself, all the driving force is guarded. If you do a good job of the poster, I think everything got filled up there. Give me something different. It should not be redundant. Can we talk about interchange of work into something else, like a mechanical into something else or something into mechanical work? Yeah? Okay, give me some examples. Put interchange. All of you say when we give thermal energy that it is random. Yes? Correct. In unison. So the funny part is, see how it sounds. In unison you say it's random. It's like an oxymoron. In unison you say it's random. Yeah, thermal energy is construed to be random scattering or random movement of molecules, correct? But then which makes it into an organized work? All the process of heat transfer, correct? So can a random motion be converted into an organized work? Yes. So I should have actually asked the example and then talked about this. So one of the examples would be conduction. Conduction. So you provide thermal energy, so-called random motion, and you convert it into organized work. So somebody said, right, medium is required. You not only need a medium, you need an organized path. You need a percolation. The transfer of energy should be in a nice, organized, oriented, percolated manner. It should reach some other place. Otherwise, conduction is not going to happen. Same thing with electrical transfer. So what if you have a lot of charges? So what if you have all this? If you don't have mobility, if you don't have a path, Will you get anything out of it? No. So I forgot, you have to add, you should have mobility as well as path. Path, an organized path. So basically, like you're hungry now, you want to run from the class and eat in the cafeteria. You got to have a gradient, you got to have energy to go, you got to have a path to go, and then you will go and eat. Did it cover heat transfer and mass transfer, electrical transfer? Yes? Your cafeteria example, you're hungry now, that's your gradient. But you also need energy to get up. You need mobility, yes? And also you need path. If you don't have either one of these, you will not eat your food. Yeah, money, okay. That's already inbuilt. Yeah. Okay, can you give me the reverse example? Where organized work will lead to random motion. Reverse. In the first case, thermal random became organized. Reverse it. No, where organized became scattered. Organized became scattered. Combustion. Very good. Combustion. It's organized work that eventually leads to high increase in entropy. What else you want in the poster? What else? Types of work. Okay, done on the system, done by the system. Typically our sign convention like endothermic and exothermic is endo is positive, exo is negative. Work done by the system is positive, so don't trip on this in the tutorials, yeah? You should not trip on this. Work done by the system is plus, work done on the system is minus. Will you have less energy or more energy if you do work? Okay, just checking. Just checking after the lecture. One more thing I had, what is an equilibrium process? What is a non-equilibrium process? All of you have heard of this word quasi-equilibrium, yes? I have no idea what it is. What is it? All of you like to use that word too, I think. Don't run away, 1 second. I'm going to write a PV, I'm going to write a compression. Did I write the compression properly? And if somebody says this is quasi-equilibrium, this is compression process, yes? So state 1, state 2. So you go through a quasi-equilibrium stage from state 1 to state 2. What does it mean? At every location, what? There is equilibrium. So how do I understand it? So I'll take this location. So I made a small segment here. I wrote it as dV. So how do I understand that if you say that every stage I have equilibrium? What does that mean? How will you prove to me that it is equilibrium? How will you prove to me that it's, because equilibrium means unchanging. So what will you prove to me to say that at that segment where I've shaded that you have quasi-equilibrium process? So I'll give you a hint. I'm going to put gradients like this. I put V here, I put P here. So you can take a mean position in that segment there, and you can oscillate from right to left, right to left, right to left, right to left. What is happening there? So can I write something like this? Million times you can do that at that mean position inside that segment. It will coincide and fall on the same line. Yes? That is quasi-equilibrium. At every point you have an interface where it will become unchanging. So that your volume will oscillate between 2 points and it will continuously remain the same. Did I write the direction correctly? I took a mean point. This is a mean point in between the segment. I decreased the volume, pressure went up. I increased the volume, pressure came down. Back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. So if you write this plot, if you simulate this plot as a model, how will it look for a quasi-equilibrium process? Instead of this plot, if you write it in this plot, how does it look? The slope of the line initially will be what? low. The slope is low at state 1 and it will repeat million times. Then the slope will increase million times. Slope will increase million times. Now is it a quasi-equilibrium process? Yes? That's how you do your simulation and prove that it is quasi-equilibrium because at every point it is reversible. Correct? So please go easy on the word before you say quasi-equilibrium. You should understand at every point that it's reversible for million times or how many ever times you're going to do your simulation. Shall I catch you on Tuesday? See you guys.